AFR On Demand is brought to you by Breck Golf. Try Beaver Creek today, just 20 minutes from downtown Baton Rouge in the Zachary area. They've got a PGA Tour driving range, a short game practice area, 30 to 40-yard practice shots. It's a great place to chip and putt and practice if you don't have time for a full round. Book your tee time today, golf.breck.org, golf.breck.org.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Raising Cane studio.
Let's ride!
Hour 3, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR. Presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. I'm Matt.
This is Shaq O'Neal, and I hate Matt.
Paul O'Neal.
They're chanting Paul O'Neal's name.
Yusu. And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. 5 o'clock quitting time. Glad you're driving home with us. And, ooh, by the way, it's a hump day.
It's hump day.
Evermore.
Mike. What day is it, Mike? Hump day.
Goes down smooth every time.
It's hump day.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
Thanks to Verge Osbury, who was here last hour.
Hump day.
Jay Dixon was here in hour 1.
It's hump day.
Ross Jackson in 15 minutes.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
Saints pick up Bryan Bresee's 5th-year option.
Hump day.
Should they?
It's hump day.
Odds are the Saints. Betting odds are the Saints will draft Carnell Tate 8th overall.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
Should they?
Hump day.
We'll ask Ross Jackson
It's hump day.
after the break.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
Hey, Muse.
Hump day.
Hey, Scott.
You feel
It's
better?
hump day.
You feel better about baseball after Verge's comment?
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
Seems like they have a plan, Matt. I'll say that.
That's not what I asked you.
I like that they have a plan.
That's not what I asked you.
I feel about the same. I also might just still be mad about last night.
Hump day.
That's a midweek game, Muse.
It's hump day.
It is. It is a midweek game.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
You haven't been very good at those this year at all.
Nope.
Hump day.
Nope.
It's hump day.
And you know what?
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
They win 10 more conference games.
Hump day.
They're still going to host a regional.
Okay.
It's hump day.
Do you think they're going to win 10 more conference games?
I think they're going to fall just short of that. I think they're probably a 14 to 15 win team in the league.
Why do you hate LSU baseball?
I don't think anyone's going to buy that bid at all.
Hump day.
There's a lot of things you can paint me as, brother. I don't even think you could sell that one.
Hater.
It's hump day.
I think they're going to get there.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
Thank God for South Carolina.
It's hump
Say
day.
that. Say that. I know they beat Texas in game 1.
That's not
I
the
know.
guaranteed sweep anymore, unfortunately.
I know.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
All right, we got to get going. Ross Jackson in 10 minutes from right now. We're glad you're hanging out with us here. Hump Day Show is brought to you by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Visit yourgoodwood.com, yourgoodwood.com. Lane Kiffin, after Tuesday's practice, met with reporters, and one of the things he was asked about was the running game. And for all the conversation we've had about quarterbacks coming in and Sam Levitt's injury and all the change on the offensive line and Trey'Dez Green and the co-DC roles and all the storylines, we haven't talked much at all about the running game so far this spring. And it's interesting because that has been the Achilles heel of this team the last 2 years. the disgusting inability to run the football. As a reminder, and you may want to grab your barf bags in case if this might induce your upchuck reflex. The LSU Fighting Tigers were 124th in America last year in rush offense. 124th. Y'all, there were 134 teams that played Division I college football. Only 10 of them were worse than LSU at running the football. For what it's worth, Ole Miss was 44th in the country. Felt like they would have been much better than that because of the season Kewan Lacey had. But they averaged 176 rush yards per game. For context, last year, Ole Miss, under Lane Kiffin and Charlie Weiss, was second nationally in total offense. They averaged 489 yards a game. They averaged 489 yards a game. 176 on the ground. LSU was 109th in the country in total offense. So we're all excited to watch this offense have a pulse again. But that's going to start with reinventing this running game, and that's something Lane Kiffin mentioned on Tuesday.
Really high on our list. Very big challenge to get that fixed. And that takes a lot of things. It's a system thing. It's a personnel thing. And so, getting here and going to work on that. And in my opinion, you can't run the ball. You got problems, not just offensively, but as a team. It's just part of your personality. And we've always really stressed that. Over time, we've run the ball as well as anybody over the years, the last two places we've been. And it's looked different with different types of running backs. So, like you alluded to, major issue last year and really for a few years here. And so that's high on our list because it sets up everything. Everybody knows that sets up throwing the ball and play action, but to me, it sets your whole team up.
They go fast, but one of the biggest misconceptions about Lane Kiffin and Charlie Weiss's offense is that they're pass happy. Again, they threw for, as a team last year, 4,700 yards, 3,900 from Chambliss. Simmons threw for another 744. A.J. Maddox completed a pass for 19 yards. But when it comes to running the football, this is not a system where they operate by committee. That's just not how they've done it at Ole Miss under Kiffin. This past year, Kewan Lacey had 1,500 rushing yards. The next leading rusher was Trinidad Chambliss, the quarterback. Among running backs, it was Logan Diggs, who had 33 attempts for 189. 33 for 189 was the next leading rusher among running backs. Go back the previous year. Henry Parrish was the leading rusher. The second leading rusher on the team was Jackson Dart, who ran for just under 500 yards. Go back to 2023. Quinshon Judkins ran for 1,100 yards. Now, Ulysses Bentley was there and ran for 540 on 95 carries, but again, Bentley had 95 attempts. Judkins had 271. And then Jackson Dart was third. I guess my point is, Kiffin's offense leans on a bell cow. They don't do the by committee thing. So who is the guy that's going to get potentially, I don't know if it'll be 271 carries like Judkins had that year. Henry Parrish had 130. Dart had 124 in 2024. But last year, Kewan Lacey had 306, 306 rushing attempts. Chambliss had 133. Diggs had 33. You understand my point? There's going to be one guy who emerges as the guy who takes the lion's share of the reps. And that's most likely going to be Harlem Berry, who Lane Kiffin was asked about the parallels with Berry and Kewan Lacey.
Well, I don't know about that. Again, that's really outcome-based, and that was a tremendous season and a record-breaking season. I think he broke most of the records that Deuce had. So I don't know that. That's a long ways to go. We've had one day out there. We don't even have pads on yet. And you don't know, you're not going to get – it depends on the room. We've had times where we've had three, that kind of equal out in their playing time. We've had times where we've had one and then a drop-off to two. And so – when there's a drop-off from 1 to 2, a really big drop, now that workload increases and you're able to have giant seasons like that.
The outlier, when he talked about where they had 3, that was 2021. So that was Lane's second year at Ole Miss. Jerrion Ealy had 133 rushing attempts. Snoop Connor had 130. Matt Corral, quarterback, had the most rushing attempts at 152. Now, sacks are included in that, obviously. And then Henry Parrish had 105. So they had, that year, 2021, they had 3 running backs that had over 100 rushing attempts. But again, in 6 years at Ole Miss, that's 1 year. That's the outlier. That's the exception, not the rule. The rule is they want to find one guy that they give 250 to 300 rushing attempts to the one guy that's their guy. Is Harlan Berry that guy that emerges? They sure prioritized keeping him, which would lead you to believe maybe. Or maybe it becomes a year like 2021 where you have Berry, Caden Durham, and then a guy like Dylan Jones from Wisconsin. I think the most important part is making sure next year, all those guys you worked hard to bring in this year in that running back room, the majority of them are back, so you're not remaking the room again next season. But clearly, it is a priority for Lane Kiffin to run the football. Even that year where they had the 3 running backs that all had over 100 rushing attempts, they ran for 2,800 yards that season and averaged just under 5 yards per rushing attempt. So even when they did it by committee, that 1 year they did, they still ran it effectively. That's going to be certainly a priority for this offense in 2026. All right, it's After Further Review. We're glad you're with us. We are brought to you by South Point Volkswagen, southpointvw.com, southpointvw.com. New and certified pre-owned in Baton Rouge and online, southpointvw.com. Drive around town, you'll notice them all the time. Last night, left here, went to Miracle League, parked over at Traction, was walking into Miracle League right where I parked, directly across from me, another black Volkswagen Atlas Crossport car just like mine. You see them all over. The Atlas is awesome. It's the 3-row, 7-seater family SUV. The Crossport just takes out the third row. So it's the same style, feel, performance, luxury, same all that stuff, just takes out the third row. A little sleeker on the back end. If you want to check that out, you can. If you're looking for a sedan, they got you covered there as well. Great deals on Jetta right now. And the ID Buzz. That's the newly renovated, newly reimagined VW bus. And it's an electric bus. And they got them at South Point Volkswagen. Airline just north of Highland or southpointvw.com. South Point Volkswagen. What's your direction? Thanks again to Verge Osbury, who spent just about the whole hour with us last hour. If you missed that conversation, make sure you catch it on demand. Podcast, you probably will get the whole thing up on YouTube. You can check it out there at AFR LSU on YouTube or on podcast if you missed the convo. We covered a lot of ground. Kiffin and Wade and RevShare and Jay Johnson and Kim Mulkey and women's basketball and all of it. So we appreciate Verge for making the time to come in studio with us and have that conversation. So if you missed it, make sure you catch it on demand. All right, well, now I got a quick break. Come back. Ross Jackson, LouisianaSports.net is going to be here. Want to talk about a lot of things involving the black and gold, primarily the Saints' decision to pick up Bryan Bresee's 5th-year option. We'll do that next on AFR.
After Further Review.
Get Gordon and get it done. Gordon McKernan, injury attorneys. Hey, remember, if you are or know a upcoming high school graduating senior, have one in your family, maybe your son, daughter, grandchild, niece, nephew, make sure they're aware of this. So Gordon does this every year. Part of one of the many ways that Gordon is so philanthropic in our communities. Gordon gives away laptops or MacBooks to graduating Louisiana high school seniors that are going to a trade school or a 2 or 4 year college to help you as you transition into that next step. If you want to apply to be one of the winners, simple. Go to gordonsgrads.com. You'll see all the info right there. Gordonsgrads.com. There's info on all of Gordon's socials as well. So you can go to @GetGordon, but make sure you go to gordonsgrads.com or make sure that upcoming high school senior graduate in your life knows that they can win at gordonsgrads.com.
After Further Review, presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
Remember, it's not just HRT, not just ED treatments, peptide therapy as well. It's changed my life. BPC 157, incredible for muscle repair if you got injuries. NAD+, incredible for cellular optimization and energy. There's so many different ways that you can maximize the way you feel, live life to the fullest, Goodwood can help. YourGoodwood.com, YourGoodwood.com, YourGoodwood.com. Saints are picking up Bryan Bresee's fifth-year option. Good move? Let's ask Ross Jackson, LouisianaSports.net and Locked On Saints. Yo, dude, how are you?
Hey, man, doing great. Glad to be here with you.
It's our pleasure. Okay, Saints are picking up Bryan Bresee's option. Good move?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, look, it's not a steep ask for the Saints, who in 2027 right now have about $76 million available in salary cap space. Yes, you heard that right. $76 million available.
Whoa!
Yeah, I know. Throw a party,
Stop
everybody.
traffic!
Stop the presses. But look, it's not a large undertaking for them, knowing that they have that available right now. And so a $14 million, just about right, $13.9 million fifth-year option for Bryan Bresee is just kind of easy to pick up. There's no guarantee that he actually plays on that number, right? You can always reach a contract extension like the Saints are trying to do with Chris Olave. They could look to do that before that fifth-year option for actually plays on that. And so it's, easy opportunity here for a guy that, like, if that amount, $13.9 million, was this year, it'd make him the 24th highest paid defensive tackle in the NFL. He is indeed one of the 32 starting three techs in the league, and so him being paid as such makes sense. And again, there's no guarantee he actually plays on that money. So they were really impressed with the way that he adjusted to his new role last year. I know he went from 7.5 sacks, which led the team in 2025, to just 2.5 last year, but his role changed, and he made some big strides as a run stopper, which was a thing that was kind of a ding against him during his draft cycle. So they're very pleased with what they saw from him, and that translates here to them picking up that fifth-year option.
Yeah, well, how would you assess how Bresee's career has started?
Yeah, look, I think the couple of things that certainly stand out is that, you'd like to see 17 games out of him, right? I mean, you've seen him miss games each of his early part of his career here, but when it came to his draft stock, when he came in 2023, he was a three-tech pass rusher and needed to get better as a run stopper. I mean, he showed that he could make his way in the NFL as that three-tech pass rusher in 2024. And then in 2025, he showed the development as a run stopper, playing a little bit more of kind of this 3-4 defensive end role in Brandon Staley's system. So everything kind of changed in terms of what he was being asked to do, and he still did that new thing well. That's part of the reason why the Saints didn't hesitate in this opportunity, and they're not afraid to turn away from picking up a fifth-year option. They didn't pick up Cesar Ruiz's, for instance, years ago. And so I think the way that you look right now at Bryan Bresee's career so far is sort of this scheme versatility that we didn't realize that he had coming into the league, and then sort of seeing that pan out. You'd like to see him be a little bit more disruptive in 2026, getting back to where he was in 2024. But in terms of understanding his new role, now that he's got that out of the way, maybe that frees him up to be able to do some of that this upcoming year.
Yeah, Ross, as they go through this whole free agent and draft process, it gives us all an opportunity to step back and look at the roster as a whole and see where their strengths, weaknesses, and places to add. How do you feel about the interior of the defensive line where they are right now?
Yeah, I think there's still work to be done there. I think continuing to add more opportunities to bring players in that can help you from a run-stopping perspective would be big. I think continuing to address the nose tackle position. They traded for former LSU Tiger Devon Gottschall last year, and he fit into the system well. Now that he kind of is in the system, we'll see what he can add going into this year, much like we were just discussing with Bresee. But I think you're still looking for who are the rotational players that they could bring in that don't create a bit of a drop-off at that position. I think they're really excited to get Vernon Broughton back, who they drafted last year in the third round, which is a little higher than we expected him to go. And so there's obviously a lot of expectations for him going into this year. And so they're hoping that he'll be able to help. But I do think that adding another run stopper, this is big. This team made some strides as a run defense last year, but we're still in 19th in the NFL. You know what I mean? We're not talking about this team all of a sudden becoming a top 10 run defense in the league. And I think they'd like to get there, force teams on the other side to be a little bit more one-dimensional. They're not doing that successfully right now. Maybe continuing to add to the interior of that defensive line would help them do that.
Yeah, a healthy Broughton will be a fascinating one to watch. It's one you forget about, right? I mean, missed the season with injury. That'll be a really interesting to keep an eye on. Ross Jackson with us, at Ross Jackson NOLA, LouisianaSports.net, Locked On Saints is where you can find him. I know you have a series going on over at LouisianaSports.net where you're looking at potential targets for New Orleans. As we continue to look at 8, earlier today, I saw odds that the betting odds have Carnell Tate favored to be the 8th overall pick. If that's where the Saints do land, how would you feel about that?
Yeah, look, I think he would be a fantastic fit for New Orleans. Really, any of those top 3 wide receivers that are there, him, Jordan Tyson out of Arizona State, as well as Mekhi Lemon out of USC, would be good fits. They're all just kind of for different reasons. But the thing that makes Carnell Tate a really, really impactful player is his efficiency in the middle of the field in the intermediate area, which is a place where Tyler Shuck was really comfortable last year, particularly targeting Devon Bailey. And so the two of them really kind of helped to take those steps forward in those final 9 games. So really those 4 games where Devon Bailey was really productive with Tyler Shuck at quarterback. And then the other piece is his field stretching ability. He's not the fastest guy. He ran in the 4.5 during his 40-yard dash runs and all these other things. But some of the best wide receivers in the NFL run in that 4.5 range. The thing that he does so well is that he runs routes extremely well, and he does a very good job of what's called stacking defensive backs, or getting laterally over the top of them, so that he can kind of control with deceleration and acceleration the separation that he can create there. And he does a very, very good job of that downfield. And I think he's got some untapped potential in the short yardage area as well, as a near 200-pound, 6'2", 6'3" wideout. And so I think that he could be a very interesting 3-level threat. Would give you an X receiver, that sort of split end wideout that lines up all by himself with no tight end on his side, no slot receiver on his side, and would attract attention and kind of takes a little bit of the pressure off of guys like Chris Olave and Devon Bailey at that position. Saints have some players that they're excited about to see how they might pan out at the wide receiver position going into 2026. Jalen Polk, who didn't play in 2025, Trey Palmer, who didn't play in 2025. There's some promise there, and there's some belief there from the organization in those guys, but overall still question mark. I think that taking a guy like Carnell Tate gives you an exclamation point instead, and somebody that you can add to that room that gives you pretty clear value.
Would you rather they take a position or a player at 8? I'm just talking about this year. Like, is there a player or a position that you would prioritize?
I think really for me, looking at them, it's all about who's going to have the biggest impact. I think that this is a team that's always going to rely on positional value, right? And they're going to lean into premium positions. The Jeremiah Love conversation was super fun while it lasted.
No, it wasn't.
I think they're going to go that direction. Well, it wasn't fun for you.
It was not fun.
It might have. I dare say it actually was fun for you. You just don't want to admit it.
No, you know what was fun? What was fun was signing Travis Etienne, so that way we can stop with the stupid conversation about drafting a running back in the top 10, wasting a top 10 pick on a stupid running back. No disrespect intended whatsoever to Jeremiah Love. I'm sure he's going to be a great player. But you don't draft a stupid running back in the top 10.
So that's a positional value conversation, right? And so your premium positions are quarterback, blindside tackle. Those positions are taken care of for you going into this year. Edge rusher, wide receiver, cornerback. Those are your spots. So edge rusher, wide receiver, cornerback feel like the places where, hey, if you're drafting in the top 10, those are the position groups that you're going to lean towards. And so as long as you're landing somebody at one of those positions, and as long as you're landing somebody that's going to be impactful for them, so that includes like LSU's Mansour Delane, that includes those three top edge rushers between Arvo Reese, Ruben Bain Jr., and David Bailey. Any of those players for me, it's that cloud of players that can have an impact for them at a premium position as opposed to one specific player or one specific position.
Okay, so if you could draft, you had the option, they're all on the board. Tate, Delane, Bain. They're all 3 on the board. Who are you picking?
Probably going Bain in that case.
Ooh.
Just because of that edge rusher spot. It's considered the most, the second or third most important position in football, and it's either behind just quarterback or it's behind quarterback and blindside tackle. And so finding another one of those edge rushers that can come in and take over a football game for you the way that Ruben Bain has proven that he can at the NFL level. He also fits Brandon Staley's defense really well, played wide 9 or lining up outside of where a tight end either is or would be more than any other defensive end in this year's draft class. He's just a natural fit for what it is that the Saints would look to do. Very good against the run as well. So it goes back to our earlier conversation in terms of helping you against the run, in addition to being somebody that can give you some pass rush value. So I think I'd probably go Bain there, but really any of those 3 guys brings very, very clear and immediate impact for you.
Ross, what are the Saints doing between now and a week from tomorrow, or 2 weeks, or a week from tomorrow? 2 weeks from tomorrow.
2 weeks from tomorrow somehow. Yeah, we're
right?
much closer than I think I realize we are. But so a couple days before the draft begins on April 20th is when they'll begin sort of their off-season programming. That'll be first day there, so you'll see news about guys reporting and things like that. This is all voluntary, but it's an opportunity for them to get started in meeting rooms, physicals, all these types of things. Then the draft will happen, and so that's kind of it. Everything between now and then is continuing to kind of brush up and wrap up any type of draft prep. We'll probably see some more, maybe hear about some more visits for the team as well during this time, and in getting any more of those other kinds of workouts, private workouts, things like that. Just kind of last, buttons on everything from visiting with prospects, hosting prospects, and then also like building that board that they'll use as they go through the draft. And I think a lot of these NFL boards, by the way, are going to be very different than the media consensus. And so I would not be surprised if we start seeing, players rising or falling as we all catch up to the NFL teams and what it is that they feel about these players.
Why do you think that the boards are going to be different than the media consensus?
I think that, it's just a big part of this class has a lot of these players. Like, there's not really many reasons that we don't talk about Akeem Messidor the same way that we talk about other top edge rushers. There's not really a big reason for why we don't talk about like a wide receiver like Denzel Boston out of Washington or Casey Concepcion out of Texas A&M, the way that we talk about some of the other top wide receivers in this class. And I think a lot of that just happens because we're fixated on the idea of listing and tiering all of these players, and that's the way that we have draft conversations. That's not consistent with the way that NFL teams typically have draft conversations. And so I think that some of those things, like teams sometimes build horizontal boards, sometimes they build vertical boards, like we're used to. Sometimes they build horizontal boards, which is unlike anything they've ever seen before. And so there's a lot of these sort of different mechanisms that teams will use that aren't necessarily utilized when we're kind of predicting what the draft is going to do. And so these next couple of weeks become a little bit of that catch-up opportunity where we start to kind of close that gap a little bit.
And that's how Jalen Reagor ends up getting drafted ahead of Justin Jefferson, because that was a great idea.
And it's a lot of those types of things. So exactly that.
I love the draft so much. Ross Jackson, LouisianaSports.net. You can read him for free there. You can listen or watch at Locked On Saints. Make sure you get him every day. Thanks, man.
Yeah, of course. Thank you, man. Take care. Stay safe. Talk to you soon.
All right, be well. That's Ross Jackson. That's after further review. We're brought to you by Shawbill's Tire and Auto Service, where, they're going to sell you name brand tires at wholesale prices. But if you go look at their most recent Facebook post, they remind you oil changes too. That's right. Shawbill's change your oil. Pop on in. You don't even need an appointment. It helps if you have one, but you don't need one. Any of their locations. ShawbillsTire.com, ShawbillsTire.com. And remember, use your Shawbill's credit card. Your first purchase, get $50 off. It's basically like getting a free oil change. Shawbill's Tire and Auto Service, ShawbillsTire.com, ShawbillsTire.com. Locations all over South Louisiana. They'll sell you name brand tires at wholesale prices. They guarantee it. You go to the website, you hit the promotions tab at the top of the page, and you'll see all the specials they have right now. And they work so hard to combine their in-house offer with the dealer special to get you the best price. It's how they do it. They're not going to be beat on price when it comes to tires. Tires are commodity. You can buy the literal same tire at a bajillion different places. If you want a Michelin, BF Goodrich, Bridgestone, Firestone, Toyo, you get the same tire at a bajillion different places. So why go to Shawbill's? Because they're going to sell it to you at the best price, and they're going to treat you like family. Shawbill's Tire and Auto Service. ShawbillsTire.com. Shawbill's. We keep you rolling. All right, been a good show. Shay was here in hour one, talked some Cruton. Big visitor list. I didn't even realize this past weekend when LSU practiced on Saturday, some really big-time prospects. 5-star offensive linemen's on campus right now on a 2-day visit. Get all that info from Shay on demand. Verge Osbury, LSU AD, was with us here in studio for almost the entire second hour, so we appreciate his time. Sincerely, you just heard Ross there as well. You missed anything, catch AFR On Demand, presented by Breck Golf. Book your tee time at golf.breck.org, golf.breck.org. All right, it's after further review. Jay Johnson did meet with reporters today, gave an update on a few injuries, including both Stanfield and Dardar, who were injured last evening. Also updated Cooper Moore. The LSU pitcher has been out for a couple of weeks. We'll get you that update here. And the Pelicans won a game.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, you're right, Graf. Get you some, Graf. Sent those Pelicans out with a winner at the Smoothie King Center for this year. And Jimmy will be here for Auto Locks in a little bit. Stay here at Safer.
After further review.
All right, we're back up to 76 degrees. It was actually 78 today. The high was 79, I'm sorry. At least that's what my Apple Watch tells me. Y'all, I can only warn you so much. I can only sit here and try to beat you over the head with it so often. Hot temps are coming. It's going to take a toll on your AC. If you have not had your AC checked, cleaned, tuned, call River City's 1 Hour Air. 752-0001, 752-0001, 752-0001, or 1hourbr.com. Friendly technician will come to your house. They'll make sure your AC is clean, tuned up, and running efficiently. It'll save you money. If they catch an issue, it'll be more cost-effective than it becoming a big, costly repair, and it'll extend the life of your unit. 752-0001.
After further review, presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
Baseball Tigers are hitting the road, take on Ole Miss this weekend. Looks like they will be without Cooper Moore for another week. But Jay Johnson on Wednesday did give an optimistic update.
Started his throwing program, and he will not pitch this weekend. My hope is that he will be available in some capacity next weekend.
Okay. So, will not pitch this weekend against Ole Miss. Is throwing, which is good news. They hope in some capacity next weekend. Of course, the Tigers, after playing at Ole Miss this weekend, next weekend will be at home against Texas A&M. So that's the target in some capacity. I'm not sure what that means or what that looks like. Moore made 6 starts. We haven't seen him since the Oklahoma game when he left with that tricep injury, whatever it is. They haven't really disclosed exactly what it is, but so he didn't pitch against Kentucky or this weekend on the road against Tennessee. He won't pitch against Ole Miss, so he'll miss at least 3 weeks. So if he does return for the A&M series, it will be 4 weeks, from outing to outing. So that's a reason for optimism moving forward, because you've had to shuffle everything to make up for those innings, whatever they may be. And in conference play, Cooper Moore went just 4 innings against Vanderbilt and 4 against Oklahoma before he was lifted. But against Northeastern, he went 7 2/3. He got you into the 6th against Notre Dame. He gave you 6 innings against Milwaukee. So when you're trying to eat up your 27 innings with your pitching staff, and you have a guy that can give you 6 of those potentially, obviously it's going to make you better. And what's happened as a result of Moore not being there is now they've had to take Gavin Guidry and move him into the rotation. And that's a big bullet out of the bullpen that's not there for you. Now he was warming up in game 1, and if they needed him, would have come into the game, right? He was hot this past weekend on the road against Tennessee. But and I believe they will do that if they need him. And now I know they made the switch and didn't start Guidry. They started Fontenot. So there's different ways you can go about doing it. But the point is, no matter what you do, you're moving someone from your bullpen depth piece to starting the game, and it alters what you do. So getting Cooper Moore back will be a great thing for the Tigers, if it is, in fact, next week against A&M in whatever capacity. Now, if you're watching the game against Bethune-Cookman, and condolences if you were, it was a miserable watch. Stanfield and Dardar were both injured. Dardar sliding into second on a fielder's choice, which was the final out of the 6th inning. And then there in the top of the 7th, Stanfield ran into the wall, left hand first, the same hand that had been injured. Jay gave an update on those two.
Neither of them broke anything, so that's a real positive. Now, what they can do, I don't know yet, because they got beat up pretty good in the 2 instances.
You need Chris Stanfield. I think you can find a path forward without Dardar. Now, Dardar hit 600 2 weekends ago, and you would love to see him continuing to find comfort and consistency, but he is going to be a defensive liability. And I will take a better defensive player if it sacrifices that bat. I don't believe Jay Johnson would. But Stanfield is the one that we saw already is irreplaceable. You will have a significant drop-off in left field if it doesn't matter who it is. Daniel Hardin is your best defensive option in left field. But offensively, if you go to any of the other players that you might play out there, if it was Braun or Tanner Reeves, Simpson's been dealing with a thumb injury, but any of those other guys, you're going to take a step back from Stanfield, where it would be out there. Now, the other shakeup was at first base, where York sat on Tuesday. Jay was asked the plan at first base this weekend.
This is the best pitching staff we'll have faced, no question about it. I thought those 3 or 4 guys from Tennessee are going to the big leagues, but in totality, it's a really good pitching staff. They have an offensive style. They do have a lot of left-handed hitters. The ball's going to be put in play, on the ground to that side, so that will become, the defense becomes important, the offensive matchup becomes important. All of that will play into it.
Not exactly the vote of confidence that you'd love to hear if you're a hefty transfer who's been manning first base for the bulk of this season. But Jay was asked specifically about York and where he needs to improve.
Remain positive. How we view things is everything. He has a choice to how he's going to respond to it. He responded very well to it the first time we gave him a day off or a break. As far as specifics, on the defensive side, it's like plays have to be made. It's very black and white. Plays have to be made. And then offensively, it's just compete in this at bat, not bring previous at bats to the at bat unless that's affecting you in a positive way, like you've learned something from it. And I love Zach, and if he plays to his capability, it gives us the best team. He'll be around this thing. It's not you're demoted, you're out of here. It's not what this is.
He's obviously right. York is going to play again. He's going to start games, and he's going to take significant at bats for this team the rest of the way. I will be really interested to see what Jay elects to do. Because on Tuesday, he did what I think and what a lot of us had been asking for, was play Braun. It's the same reason why we talked about playing Cerna. You've got a young player with a super high ceiling. Play the young player with the super high ceiling. Get that young player comfortable to get to the ceiling. If the veteran player you brought in, because he was a veteran player with a lot of experience, isn't performing, well then let's get the young guy experience. The challenge with York is, 30 strikeouts is just 30 strikeouts and 100 at bats. One of every 3 at bats he's striking out. And when you're a it's one thing if you're striking out 1 out of every 3 at bats if you're already on double-digit homers, but that's the flip side of it, is where you're not affecting the scoreboard. That's the challenge. So, and then your reliability defensively. The ball going through his wickets on Sunday is a problem, man. You can't have that play and be an out. So I'll be fascinated to see what they do, and he's got options. I don't know what Jay's going to do. Yaman can be a corner infielder if he could play first. We know Braun can play first. They've tried Cerna there, although when Cerna went there, he made a couple of boneheaded plays as well from just lack of experience. Jake Brown got charged with an error because Cerna should have been the cutoff man to go cut off the ball. He didn't, and so the ball got away, and it ended up being an extra base error. So you don't have a very obvious option, which is the challenge, but maybe it'll be matchup based. You're going to face Hunter Elliott, who is a dominant ace. He's a lefty. You want to get right-handed bats in the lineup? Maybe that's a great opportunity to get Yaman and Cerna and Aaron Beatty all in the lineup on the same day and see how that looks. So it'll be fascinating to see. Big weekend. They're all big, obviously, in conference play, but Tigers head to Oxford this weekend to take on the Rebs. All right, brought to you by Williamson Eye Center, 924-2020, 924-2020, or WilliamsonEye.com. I got a text, as a matter of fact, today from the Williamson Eye Center telling me it's time for my annual eye exam. So I tell you all the time, they're a full-service optical shop. So it's eye care, eyewear, and eye surgery. The eye care is go get your annual eye exam. Got an issue with your eye, go to the Williamson Eye Center. They got locations all over Greater Baton Rouge, so you can have your annual eye exam, which you should always do. if you wear contacts or glasses, in full-service optical shop, so they can fill your prescription, update your prescription, and if you need new glasses or contacts, they can fill that for you as well. And then eye surgery. Dr. Blake Williamson is a world-class ophthalmologist. People come from all over the region to see Dr. Blake Williamson because he's the best. I mean, he goes all over the world lecturing and teaching because he has brought some of the foremost practices in ophthalmology to Baton Rouge. He's the best. So, you want to get rid of the contacts and glasses forever? Dr. Blake Williamson can help. 924-2020, 924-2020, or WilliamsonEye.com. All right, y'all, got to knock out our final break of the show. Come back. Jimmy will be here for Otter Locks. Otter Locks are posted, and we're also, some of you have asked, we will have all of the Masters plays up this evening. So the Masters starting tomorrow morning in Augusta. If you want all of the Otter Locks, all of the contributors, the consensus golf picks, they'll all be up this evening, probably as soon as I get off air. But Jimmy's next on Otter Locks. It's AFR.
AFR.
If you're thinking of putting in a pool, even if you're not thinking of putting in a pool, go to DuplessisBuilders.net. Go to the website, DuplessisBuilders.net, just because this is a really cool function. So if you go to the website, DuplessisBuilders.net, like grab your phone, if you're sitting at a desktop, whatever, log on to DuplessisBuilders.net. Right on the homepage, there's a Pick Your Pool tab. You can do this for your outdoor kitchen and all that stuff as well, but hit the Pick Your Pool tab. There's 11 different pool designs that you can choose from. Now, they can do any custom build you want, but this is just a cool function to sort of play with. Pick out your tiling. Pick out your coping. Do you want water features? What type of plaster? The color? All that stuff. And you can design your pool right there on the website. This is beautiful 3D imagery. It's such a cool feature. It's free. Go do it. It's DuplessisBuilders.net. Start dream building toward that pool. It's DuplessisBuilders.net.
After further review, presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
Down the stretch we come. Final segment here on a Hump Day edition of AFR, presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Hormone replacement therapy, amazing peptide options as well. You want to feel your best? yourgoodwood.com, yourgoodwood.com. One thing left to do, find out what we're betting on tonight. Time for Otter Locks.
Otter Locks.
All right, time to win some money.
Presented by Total Maintenance AC Repair. Same-day service means you will never sleep hot. 480-1000. We are Total Maintenance.
I think it's safe to say that I won the bet.
You, Otter, what up?
What's going on, Matthew? A couple of winning nights to start the week, so we're good.
Took advantage of that boost over at DraftKings as well. Got a 50% boost on the Pirates game last night. So feeling really good about that one.
Man, every site is putting out boosts for the Masters. So please do take them, take advantage of those. So everybody's putting them out. Our consensus picks, we'll get that out the way. We're going to give a lot of the picks, all the picks from Wes and from Max and others up there later on the website. But our consensus picks was three contributors. Xander Schauffele. He's about 18-1, something like that. So he is a multiple major winner. He has never won the Masters, though, but he comes into good form as well. And then another former Masters winner. This is a bomb now, as far as the Masters is concerned, but former U-High product, and that is Patrick Reed. So Patrick Reed he played at Augusta State, and so those are your two consensus picks. But
and what about Ludwig Aberg?
Man. Don't get me started with that guy.
Wait, I'm asking because Max sent me the picks, and he's got bolded in the picks Xander Schauffele, Cameron Young, Patrick Reed, and Aberg.
That's his picks.
Oh, those are his picks. Okay, got it. Okay.
So those are his picks.
No.
Well, lost in translation. So
okay, I'll check on that. Okay, so just Schauffele, Aberg.
If they count Rabelais, he likes him too. But Aubert can't finish, man. So I'm just telling you, I had him
1
this
minute
past weekend.
remaining.
He was leading with 9 holes to go, and he just throws up on himself when it's time to close.
Okay, so Schauffele and Reed are the consensus picks.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
and that was announced on our show earlier today. So 2 Major League Baseball games. We're down 1-0 with the Rays, up 2-0 with the Reds. So kind of too late to get on those. So again, a reminder, a lot of these 5:40 games in Major League Baseball. So try and get those. We're celebrating Lent tomorrow at Iverstein Butcher on Perkins near Essen tomorrow, man. Galen's got a great little deli lunch, man. Great burger sandwiches and a plate lunches as well.
Celebrate Lent by eating a big old steak.
Indulge.
Thank you, Otter.
Good luck.
We'll see you. All right, Muse Pauly, thanks. Y'all have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow at 3.
AFR.
As we get on down the road, my pleasure to remind you about Arco Power Systems, ARCCO, Arco.com, Industrial Generac Generator Power. Love telling you about Arco Power System. They're an amazing business that, candidly, I didn't really know about until I started endorsing them and went over to their amazing facility on Airline Highway in Baton Rouge, right near I-12, and you see the size and scale and scope of that operation, and you realize, man, this thing is right under your nose. And they service businesses all over the region. I tell you all the time, north to Little Rock, east to Mobile, west to San Antonio. Draw a giant circle. You're anywhere in that footprint, Arco serves you. And we talk about standby generator power for your business, not for your home, for your business. But like we say for your home, when the storm's in the Gulf, it's too late. You want to make sure you're taken care of now. Call Arco today. Arco.com, Arco.com. ARCCO, Arco.com.